Welcome to the course. This is the first lecture in the series of lecture series. Now, in these lectures, I will try to give a brief introduction and plan of this course. So, basically you will be able to learn as it is related to data structures and the programming. So, we will try to give an idea about the data, and then data whenever comes into the concern. So, structure of data is important. I will give a brief about the importance of data structures. Different type of data structures are known at the moment. We will try to give a brief accounts of all those, objective of this course, plan of this course, and finally, the resources for learning apart from these video lectures or NPTEL course. So, let us first come to the discussion about the data. Now, data is basically so common word nowadays, we are very much known to this. Data usually represented in the form of, with a very novice concept we can say, in the form of numbers, in the form of strings like name, in the form of some mix of numbers and string like email address, email ID and so on. There are numbers, however, different, some numbers related to the mobile and some numbers related to the roll number, or numbers which indicates weight of a person are not necessarily same concept, the different concept they bear. Now, whatever it be, we have the data. Now, data is related to what? Actually, data is related to what we call is an entity. Entity, in other words, can be simple way can be called as a record. For example, record of a student, record of an employer or employee, record of a course, record of an institution, and so many things are there. Now, whenever an entity which represents a real life thing is basically characterized with a set of attributes. For example, in this table, as we see, the attributes are namely name, age, gender, salary, employer. So, this is basically is a record or an entity set of entities related to the different employees in an organization. So, as we see in this table, number of rows and the number of columns, each row represents the record, a particular record of a particular entity. In other words, what we can say, an entity better will be represented by a set of attributes. Now, how an attributes can be represented? Attributes are of different type, as we see in this example. For example, name is an attribute which is basically is a collection of characters, we can say string. Age, on the other hand, is another attribute which is numeric type. Gender is another attribute which is a special type called the Boolean type sort of thing. If it is a Boolean variables, that means only true and false or male and female, that kind of things are there, or sometimes it will be represented by a single character M or F, etc. Salary, on the other hand, is another type which basically store floating point values, the real numbers. The employer is another example, it is similar to the name of an employee, it is basically string. Now, as we see, an entity is defined with set of attributes where each attributes of different type, and the attribute stores the values which we call the data. So, here what is the data so far an employee is concerned? Data indicates what is the name of employee, what is his or her age, what is the gender, and what is the salary, and where the employee is working, the person is working. So, these are the several data is involved, and as you see, data are of various data, those are there possible for to represent an entity are in different form. So, this is about the data. Sometimes there is a set of data belongs to the same category. For example, as we see here, we have listed few data, those are in floating point number 100, 250, 150, 220, 300, 110. So, this is a collection, or we can say set of data, or we can say set of floating point values. Now, if I say these are the floating point values, in fact it says that these are the set of 5 numbers or so 5 values or so, but it does not give any meaning to anybody unless we extract meaningful fact from it. Now, given a set of data, a collection, if we retrieve certain meaningful what is called the concept from it, then that meaningful concept is called the information. So, data and information are the two things. Given a data, in fact we are able to retrieve information. Now, how this information can be retrieved? So, we have to process using certain algorithms or certain procedure, and this processing is actually we do in our programming concept is by means of program. So, if there is a program and data is fed to the program, program will return information. For example, if we say these are the values related to the amount of milk consumed by a person, that is fine. So, we can say that this is the amount of milk consumed by a person in maybe a week. Now, here is the question is that what is the information that how much money that he has spent for his milk consumption, we can obtain. So, to do these things we have to do certain processing. For example, sum of all the values that is given there multiplied by cost of each unit. So, it will return exactly an information. More bigger, more in-depth information can be obtained. For example, what is the average protein consumption, protein intake for the person, or fat intake for the person, that also can be obtained. More complex logic can be applied to find this information and so on. There are many that kind of examples that we can extend, by which given a set of data we can retrieve many information thereafter. Now, so data is an essential things that we have learned. Now, we just want to give a brief discussion about what are the sources of such data. At the moment, there are many such sources from where we receive the data. Our digital world is basically receiving the data. In fact, digital world really is growing like anything. Every day there are many data generated, and then the data are stored and the data are consumed, and like this one. In brief, the source of data, major source of data are from the social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Flickr, and so many things. Another source of data, there is a huge source of data from the different scientific instruments installed here and there, like from the satellites, like from the Earth Observatory, like from the different instruments installed in different research laboratory, and so on. So, they are constantly pumping data. Those data are stored in some machine, that machine is connected to the network. So, all those data essentially linked to the network actually. Now, another very popular source of data is the mobile handsets. From the mobile we are also capturing image, capturing audios, capturing many information, sending SMS, and so many things are there. all these data are also populated and stored in some storage medium, maybe the server in the service provider and so on. There are other source of data also from many sensors, network of sensors like internet of things and other technologies. Those are presently being used to solve many problems in different application areas. I have listed only few important source of data. Apart from this, there are many other source of data in fact. Now, this source of data, if you consider, or sources of data from where we are getting, they are basically generating data in various formats. Those format not necessarily only in text, this format may be numbers, may be text, may be audio, may be video, may be image and what is not. So, different forms, different types, different sources, data is huge and processing therefore demands really a novel or a breakthrough technology. Now, data size is basically enormous at the moment, and that is why technology to cope with this huge volume of data, which basically we call big data. So, data those are high in volume, high in varieties, high in what is called the requirement of high speed processing, then they are called big data. So, at the moment the data as it is growing heavily, therefore, in order to measure the amount of data, different consortium proposes different unit. The largest unit known so far I have mentioned here is quintillion. So, 1 quintillion bytes, which is equal to 10 to the power 18th, it is basically US standard. There is another old standard which was known as 10 to the power 30. So, quintillion is the largest unit. Now, you also possibly know there are smaller units also there other than quintillion. For example, bytes, the KB called kilobytes, MB, GB for gigabytes, MB for megabytes. Similarly, TB terabytes, PB petabytes, and then EB the exabytes, ZB zettabytes and wattabyte YB. These are the largest unit as you can say. Now, so these are the different units evolved around the time in order to measure the data in this form. Now, let us see what is the present size of our digital world. Okay, it is not long back, maybe 10 years down the lane, in the around 2009 or so, the total size of the digital universe, that means comprising all source of data, those are linked in the internet, stored in a different laboratories, in the different organizations, whatever it is around 0.8 zettabyte. Now, this rate is every seconds, every moment is increasing at the rate of 44%. That means huge amount of what is called the explosion of data is taking place, and as per the prediction it is says that by the year 2020 the amount of data that the digital world should hold, it is around 35.2 zettabytes. So, the huge data there is therefore needs a better technology, rather better way of solving the data or manipulating data, and that is why we need a proper concept of data structure, so that the huge volume, huge variety of data can be processed in real time. Rather, we can say big data can be handled with a better concept of technology at the hand. That is why the data structures are evolved since the inception of computer technology, computer science. Data structures is an well exercised topic, and data structures are known. So far the different programming languages evolved, and as you know, the data structures means basically to define your data so that your program can handle them. So, different programming languages in fact allow a programmer to define their data. This type of defining data or the way the programming language can process the data is called primitive data. Primitive data really very simple and innocent, like integer, real or boolean or character, they are one sort of primitive data. But with this primitive data, if you want to store some other complex data, for example, if you want to store an image, then definitely all these primitive data definition supported by programming language developer is not the only way that you can do. You can do of course, but there is a need of a better concept of structuring data, and that is why the recent programming languages like C, C++, Java, they proposed one concept called the data abstraction. What is the meaning of this data abstraction? The meaning is that using data abstraction you can define your own data. So, basically a programmer can define user's data on his own way. Now, it has many advantages. Advantage is that you can customize your data depending on your application. This is obviously is an advantage, but problem is there. Unlike in case of primitive data, the different operations, rather different processing that you want to do, for example, how to store such a data, how to retrieve the data from memory, how to do certain operations on the data, for example, in case of image, how you can revert or how you can zoom or how you can remove the noise and so many things. It is of the user's responsibility. So, defining user's own data at the same time is advantageous as well as brings certain what is called the issues to the programmer, that how all those data structures can be defined, and not only can be defined, how they can be stored, how they can be retrieved, and how the different operations that can be performed on them. So, that is why the specific studies which required in order to know your data structure. Now, there are many data structures known so far. I will quickly try to give a brief introduction about the different structures of the different type of data. You can see one what is called the taxonomy of tree that I have mentioned here. So, we can see these are the basic data structures. I will say what do you mean by basic data structures and then advanced data structure. First of all, let us learn what are the basic data structures. Now, the basic data structures are of two types. They are either linear or non-linear type. Now, again the linear type of data structures can be divided into different categories like arrays, linked list, stacks and queues. Likewise, non-linear data structures are of different forms like trees, graphs, tables and sets. So, how all those data structure looks pictorially, it is shown in this figure. For example, array look like this, a stack look like this, linked list like this is queue, their linked list like this, the tree, graph, tables, sets like this one. So, this is a pictorial information. Usually the teacher can teach about the different data structure with the help of figures to understand the concept easily. So, these are the simple data structures or we can say basic data structures. Now, what about the advanced data structures? What I want to say is that using the concept of all these data structures, any other type of data structures that you can realize. As an example, for example, you want to manipulate image. Now, which data structure that you can think for out of these basic data structures? Yes, your answer is right. A simple array can be considered to store an image, to retrieve an image, to manipulate an image, whatever the manipulation as I told you, zoom in or removal of knowledge or changing the color of an image from one color to another, and so many things are there. Is not it interesting, right? Yes, it is very interesting. Now, whatever the other data structures, those are required specific to a particular application, can be thought of from these simple or basic data structures. So, this is why in this course we will limit our discussion to all these basic data structures are there, and finally give an idea about how the other data structures, those are we can say the advanced or custom data structures, can be obtained with the help of all these basic data structures. Now, I will quickly come to the course objective. Obviously, by the time you have clear about idea that we are going to learn about data structures, what are the different data structures are there, but I want to see that not only learning the different data structures, but at the same time we will also learn the programming for all these data structures. Our basic objective is that given a data, how the program can retrieve the information from this data, where data can be in different structure. Okay, so definitely to write the program, what is necessary is that algorithms. For every type of data structure needs their own algorithms. So, altogether data structures plus algorithms basically results a good programs or program to retrieve information given a set of data. So, objective is basically learning data structures, algorithms, and using them how the program can be decided, program can be written. Now, so far this programming is concerned, more specifically we will consider about Java environment. Java is a versatile programming language. Java can provide different types of what is called the programming, different types in the sense that programming to handle different areas of applications. Anyway, all those application areas and the programming aspects in Java programming can be broadly classified into 4 major categories. First is called core programming. The core programming basically helps you to learn about or know about the programming structure, control flow, and essential programming features like encapsulation, inheritance, package and interface, exception handling and multi-threading. So, this is basically core programming aspects. Other than this core programming, Java, as you know, it is good for application software development, and as for the application software development there are 2 parts, the front end of the application and back end of the application. For designing front end of an application we need certain programming, and Java supports those kind of programming using what is called the graphical user interface concept. So, second component of Java programming is called the GUI programming. GUI programming can be obtained using AWT, Swing, JavaFX like this. Now, the third part of this programming, because Java is heavily used at the moment for distributed programming or distributed computing like mobile computing, network or internet programming. To support these things, Java provides a huge set of features related to the networking. So, this is the third part of the Java programming, and the final part, it is also very essential part, it is dealing with database. Database somehow we are related to data structure anyway, but database is a different concept, and Java provides a good way of building a connection between your program to the database which is treated as an external entity. So, this is called Java Database Connectivity Supports, JDBC. So, all those things are basically part of the Java supports for programming, and other than the Java supports for programming, there is a data structure point of view. Java provides 3 unique what is called the features. They are stored in they are available in the form of a package like java.util is a package, then java.lang is a package and java.io is another package. The java.util is basically the package which will give a very in-depth ways of dealing the different structure of data. And so, if you want to have the data structure in full sense, you have to be the master in with this package java.util. There is a very default package always essential. Without this default package no Java programmer can be written, and it is the java.lang package. In this java.lang there are several classes, out of which one class called the string. This class is very important one class. So, learning of this string class is very important. And then java.io, it is basically input output related one package which allows you to deal the flow of data from the different sources. So, these are the three things those are required in order to understand about your data structures. Util, managing the data structures. String is a special kind of data with which any program can be written, and then input output is a mechanism how the different form of data from the different sources can be managed. So, this way the programming, mainly the core programming, and these are the three utility packages java.util, java.lang and java.i needs to be learned. So, that is what a plan that we will prepare a comprehensive course for 12 weeks to cover these are the three packages java.util, java.lang and java.io. Now, our plan is basically here. All the topics those are related to this kind of knowledge gain is planned here out in and distributed among the 15 different modules as I have mentioned here. So, today the introduction session is going on. So, introduction, apart from introduction, the topics related to this will be covered. First, generic programming, where it gives an edge to a programmer to deal the data in a generic way, not the specific way. Generic means in general way. I will discuss about generic programming concept and then generic programming facilities which is there in Java programming, and then Java collection framework. It is basically a huge chunk of java.util package will be covered here. This basically the JCF Java collection framework gives a thorough knowledge about dealing with different type of data structure. Now, different data structures those are there in the theory of computer science, namely array, linked list, stack, queue, tree, table, set and graphs will be covered then. And finally, towards the dealing with input output, mainly the file handling concept we have to study. Apart from this file handling, we will also study input stream, output stream, character stream form. So, they are called the byte stream and then character stream concept. So, those things will be discussed. Finally, we will discuss about the sorting and searching algorithms, because the data can be stored from the different sources of different type, but searching and sorting algorithm can vary from one type to another type. So, different algorithms are there, and not only the different types of algorithm dealing with different type of data structure, rather different algorithms is required that to compare which algorithms, for example sorting or searching, better for what type of data. So, this needs one thorough study about the algorithms related to the data structures. And finally, the utilities related to string and some miscellaneous utilities will be covered. So, this is the plan of the course that we are going to cover in this course, and here is the different lectures plan, week-wise plan rather, how the 60 lectures can be spread and what are the different topics will be covered in different lectures will be given there. So, this is a broad view of the different concept. I will quickly come to a discussion about different resources for studies. As I told you, here you have to cover three things: the programming aspects, data structure and algorithms, and finally their implementation. Now, if you are interested to learn data structure and algorithm, there is a good set of books are available. I have listed 3 very popular books at the moment, like Classic Data Structure by Debashish Samanta, then Algorithms by it is basically Corman and its associate editor, and Data Structure and Algorithm, which is the very first books written by Ahu, Hopcroft and Ullman. These are the 3 what is called the very good books in the field of data structures that you can follow. All books are available in Indian reprint. And for programming in Java, there is obviously very good book called the Bible of Programming. This is called the Java, the complete reference, written by Herbert Schild. Apart from the Herbert Schild, there is another book written by Ivor Hortons. It is also have a good coverage of different programming aspects. And then there is a one pedagogical book for very beginners, if you want to know about object oriented programming, C++ and Java by D. Samanta. All those books are available again in Indian reprint. For example, Herbert Schild book can be from Oxford, or it is a McGraw-Hill edition is also there, and then this is basically the books from Wiley, and then D. Samanta books from Prentice Hall. There are many other books also known at the moment coming in the market. They are basically programming related to data structures and algorithms, but they mainly focus on data structures rather than the programming. Here are few set of books I have listed here. You can check it, that will be good to learn. All those books are there. But so far the programming is concerned, I would like to narrow down 3 books. One book is Classic Data Structure. This book basically covers not only the data structures, but implementation of data structures in a neutral way, that means language independent way. But there is a one language specific book, Data Structures and Algorithms in Java. It is written by Goodrich and Tamasa. These also books have a lot of coverages you can consider. And another white book is there, is a structure from David Balray, that also you can think about for your study further if you want to have. Now there are many resource materials available in the net. Here is for example 3 links I have given. One is Jigs for Jigs, Java T Point, and Java Oracle website is the official website for Java programming, where you can get everything in details. And in addition to this course, video lectures and everything, we have planned to have all the materials that will be covered related to these subjects. You can have a link that you can get it network. All the programs that will be covered in this course also you will be able to get it from there. And there will be a discussion forum. You can consider the discussion forum to raise your any questions during the running of this course, and you can resolve any doubts. Here are few things that I have listed here, how you can take part in the discussion forum. It is free for all the participants. Now during the course, I want to tell few do's and don't do's. The first of all, you should be regular. You try to be updated all the week wise coverage and then week wise assignments, and then try to solve them. And another thing is that there will be a lot of programmings will be covered here. In the slides I will give some programs. All those programs will be available in the net, given the link from my site. You have to download these programs and practice yourself. This is very important, and without this practicing and everything, you will not be able to cope with this course actually. And obviously you have to learn of your own. This is your what is called the good advice. You should not copy. It is not that you want to have a good credit. Only earning credit is not important. Important is that learning. Okay, this is about the different things that I want to tell about in this introductory session, and then our next topics will start about generic programming in the next lectures. You please join and then have a good fun of this programming language. Thank you.